What's up, you guys? This is Robert at Shy Bears Plus. You found us on YouTube. Make sure that you go ahead and hit your sub, hit your like, give us a comment. We love the comment. Share the video and smack that bell. Just do it. You don't want to miss any content. Everybody knows that. You can also follow me on Twitter at Shy Bears Plus. Caused a little controversy on Twitter yesterday. Got a lot of likes, but man, I underestimated the number of Cutler fans that are still hanging out there. Die-hard, loyal Cutler fans. So hey, I appreciate you too. You can like whoever you like, man. You know, I don't tell you what to do. It's all good. But anyway, don't miss any of the crispy content on the old Twitter machine. Also on Instagram at Shy Bears Plus. You don't want to miss any of the dank memes. We have with us today the notorious Jeff at @plus_shy. Please say hello to the people.
Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm wearing a hat that is made out of Diego hair. Yep.
Wow.
I shaved them.
Oh, wow. Caught me
Tedious
there.
process.
I thought that was like some sort of a Santa afro or something like that on the top of the hat. Nice.
No, just dog hair.
Well
it
done.
Works for the season.
Well done. 'Tis the season for dog hair hats. Everyone knows that.
That's true.
What we're doing today, we are recapping the Bears Week 16 game. Chicago Bears won 14. Your San Francisco 49ers lost. They only had 9, so 14-9. Winning ugly is better than not winning at all. That's what I always say. Robert at Shy Bears Plus is one game away from his prediction of 12-4 on the season. I think you got your win total, did you not?
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong now. We got to go 12-4 instead. I picked 11-5 at the beginning of the year, but let's go 12-4. I'll be happy with being wrong.
Yeah, bro, I am mad about it. It kind of hurt my feelings. That it's for sure. Normally, right now is when we go to the stats. You said you had a couple of crispy stats lined up for us, so let's go to it right away.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak about how dominant this defense was this time around. San Francisco averages 118 yards on the ground per game. They only got 47, 20 and 27 off of two guys. Burrito wasn't much of a factor. They're scoring 20.7 points per game. They only scored 9. 49ers got in the red zone 3 different times and came away with 3 field goals. That's really where the game was won and lost.
Oh, for sure.
Is how well the Bears played with their backs against the wall. This is a tough team. Kyle Shanahan has proven over the last few years to be an excellent schemer. Seems like he's a very good motivator. This team came out there, they were fired up, the 49ers were, and they played hard all 4 quarters. So kudos to them and the coach. The Bears actually lost a turnover battle 2-1. 2 fumbles. They had 1 interception. Bears dominated time of possession, 35 minutes to 25 minutes. And then Mitchell Trubisky this is a Mitchell Trubisky stat line that you and I like to see. We commented about it all the time. You love to see it. Mitchell Trubisky was 25 for 29 for 246 yards passing and 1 touchdown. He had that 1 interception turned back. I think he had a rating of 113.5. But get this is the best completion percentage by a Bears quarterback with at least 16 completions since at least 1950 with an 86.9-ish completion percentage. So a dirty game, like you said, but we'll win ugly.
Yeah. Man, so many of those stats I looked at preparing, and I wrote down a whole bunch of those too. So, yeah, definitely right on the same page with a lot of that stuff. So hopefully I'll try not to repeat too many of them. But what we're going to do now is what to watch for. I'm going to repeat some of those stats because they are so crispy. My first what to watch for from last week show was the Trubisky travels home and away. How well was going to play on the road because we might have to have a road game coming up in the playoffs. And 25 for 29, a touchdown, no interceptions, percentage at 86.2. I ain't mad about it. That's all we need to win. But I thought that we would blow them out a little bit more. But it didn't work out that way, and I'll take the dub.
Club Dub in the house. Have you slapped the bell yet? Energy focus. That was my first what to watch for. How would the Bears' energy level be when they come out, and would they be focused? And it probably wasn't his best or peak performance in both of those categories as we would like to see.
Right.
We saw numerous. Now, remember, this is a team that's probably going to lead the league, the San Francisco 49ers, in like the least amount of turnovers and interceptions, forced fumbles. They're going to lead the league in all of those stats, which is terrible. They're the worst in the league, I should say. So for them to be ball hawking and be ripping the ball out, it just shows just a lack of focus I thought that we had in those areas of the game.
That was something I wanted to touch on too later on. And then losing the turnover battle 2-1 doesn't rub you very great, but still happy about the dub. I'm not complaining. McManus, Bush, Irving, Fitz. Saw McManus play pretty well in the absence, having to step up in the game today with a couple injuries. I'm interested to see what they're going to say about Bush. I mean, I didn't notice him a whole lot. Maybe that's good when your free safety isn't getting noticed, getting burned, or blown to coverage or things like that. But, the PFF grades will come out. I'm sure they'll give him a 20. So I still love PFF, though. I still love them, man. They're painting a picture for you. So, and I appreciate that. Fitz and Irving. Anyway, the guys who had to step up, I feel they stepped up enough for sure.
Sure. Matt Nagy, what to watch for. What was Matt Nagy going to bring to the table? I have that 2-game philosophy, your national championship philosophy, where you're going to pull out all the stops, you're going to do the crazy double reverses, anything it takes to win the game. This game I thought was more of a regular season game. You definitely have the talent advantage against them. You have the scheme advantage against them. Just play football. You don't need to do anything unique. And they did that. They really didn't. You didn't see any wildcats, anything like that. And that's one of the reasons why Mitchell Trubisky's completion percentage was so good, is because of the routes that Matt Nagy calls. That's going to get guys open, but it's going to move the ball downfield. And that's why our turnover or time of possession was so dominant.
Yep. Speaking of trick plays and things like that, I did call for a triple option or something of that nature to get called in this game. I just had a feeling. And they did kind of run the option with a triple option to be able to throw it out to Cohen. Trubisky should have just went down. He made a bad, ill-advised throw to Cohen. Cohen didn't catch it. A lot of bad things happened on that. It is what it is. But I'm still going to ride with Nagy. It's the having to worry about the little things, what is he going to do to us, what kind of craziness is going to happen. Just gives you so much more to prepare for. And I'm not mad about that at all. But those are probably my best what to watch for. Did you have any more you want to bring up and maybe pat yourself on the back?
Just those other games. I spoke briefly about the other games that were played before the Bears games on Saturday, that Washington game. Sunday at noon. Those games, since the Bears had the West Coast game. Bears still controlling the destiny. I have Week 17 is going to be fun to watch. There's a lot of teams that are vying for just a 1 or 2 playoff spots. So looking forward to Week 17. One more week of regular season. Can you believe it?
I cannot believe it. Means we did like 30 shows. It's insane, man. I can't even believe it.
Go look at our beards at the beginning.
Yeah, or lack thereof for me. I think I was babyface at the beginning. And it's pretty lit right now, just showing the people at home. My lighting's changing here. I feel like I look pale. I'm so glare on my face right now. But you know what? Yeah. I'm fighting through it. I'm struggling through it. Bears victory pluses. Let's see what we got right and got wrong. I thought that we were going to jump a pick 6. A lot of short routes by Nick Mullins, and we didn't get there. We did a good job of stopping and tackling them and reading those short throws and not eliminating a lot of the yak. But I didn't get what I called for, so hey, I can't get them all
that
right.
would have been nice. And I thought that was going to happen throughout, that the Bears, I did pick them to win by 56 points or something like that. But let the talent reign. That was my first Bears victory plus. I thought they did that. They didn't do anything crazy like I just talked about. Just, you're great. You're the best team in the league, or top 3, whatever. You're talented all the way around. Just play with what you got. That's all you need.
Sure. I'm pat myself on the back as I felt like the Bears were going to try to use the ground game to get outside on the San Francisco team. and we saw a lot of end arounds and reverses, and can't remember exactly every single one that they had, but they got outside and they did it on the ground, and they found creative ways to do it. Maybe not so much the toss, but I think I was finally right on something.
Yeah, I was happy to see. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks since they did go with that jet sweep, and
Right.
I like that they did it with Robinson. He had a nice pickup of 7 or maybe a first down there in the first half. So just more that an opponent has to scheme for when you're watching tape on the Bears.
Yeah, he actually got 9 on that. Bears victory pluses. I thought we had to stop Buckner because he's the Pro Bowl caliber defensive lineman on that team, and he only got 1 sack. So I feel like they did a pretty darn good job against this team. We scored enough to win. Two touchdowns. Should have been a field goal in there. But I thought we should have scored a lot more points. That's just me. They're a tough, scrappy team on the road, and it is what it is. Do you have any more? You can rattle through all your Bears victory plus.
Yeah. I just said the Bears needed to worry about themselves to get to the victory, especially with all those other games being played before, and then the number 1, number 2 seeds were being played at the same time as the 3:00 game. Don't get caught up in the scoreboard. And then
Right.
Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen getting 30 carries combined. That was by Bears victory plus. They had 19.
Hey, it's all right, man. We had a lot more rushing yards. I don't feel like it was that balanced, but it wasn't really not. I mean, they threw the ball 30 times, but I didn't feel like it was out of hand to 19 rushes. I guess if that makes any sense. I was kind of in hell there with my wordage, but hey, man, that's why we do it live and then record it.
But listen to this. This is the balance of Matt Nagy. 28 rushes to 29 pass attempts. All right, we've seen that over and over again, that the Bears are going to do. They're going to be balanced. What the modern day version of balance is, it's not we're talking about equal parts running, equal parts passing, but it's 5 completions to 5 different guys. It's 5 rushes with variance there, so there's balance. They're spreading it out. It's very tough to game plan for that. The genius, Matt Nagy.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the Patriots do it for the last 20 years. You never know who's going to be the running back that's going to score the yards, who they're going to come fantasy. I play fantasy. I hate Belichick. Hate him for it. You never know who's going to be the wide receiver, who's going to have the big day. They spread it out anyway, and then you never know who the running back's going to be. But it's how do you game plan for something you can't predict? 49er victory pluses. I said they needed to run the ball, or the Bears were going to eat them up. And all they got were some field goals. They could not run the ball. I will give you a quick 47 rushing yards. We did it.
Yep.
You'll love to see it. And then, if you stop that run, you stop their offense, and that's pretty much what we saw during this game.
Yeah, pretty close to them only getting 1/3 of their normal rushing. I'm just going to go through all my 49ers ones because they're so funny. Sign Terrell Owens. They really need to do that. You can see that Pettis or whoever else is out there for the 49ers, they're not doing it. Call Ronnie Lott. Actually, the 49ers secondary played pretty well. Richard Sherman's a bum. He needs to retire. He's just him and logic or, what's ever happening in real life. He's not in touch with that.
Yes.
He's a joke. And then I didn't get to this the other before the game, but some kind of earthquake. Those happened in San Francisco. Maybe they could have rescheduled the game. If that would have happened, maybe the Bears would not have won.
All right, let's get into it. I'm on Twitter, and I see Pro Football Focus, I think it is, or somebody, Hubarkish's deal maybe. He said Richard Sherman was upset. He's like, well, you wouldn't have to worry about getting into fights and your quarterback getting hit if the quarterback's getting run all the time or something to that. Like you had a big problem with quarterbacks running, and I'm like, dude, you played with the most running of quarterbacks pretty much your whole career until this year, and you didn't complain about it then, so you're out of touch. Shut up. And you know what? If you don't put your nose in other people's business on the opposing sideline, maybe you won't get touched. Because he said if you touch him, then he might be throwing hands. Well, you threw hands, you got touched.
Punched in the face 3 times.
Yeah, go to your huddle. Get out of there. What are you doing? What are you trying to cost your team 15? Out of touch.
How funny is it that Seattle's going to the playoffs. They're better than they were last year without him. And then San Francisco has like the least amount of interceptions in the history of the NFL. So deuces.
Yeah, it's cool. Go ahead, throw shade at Russell Wilson. Like, dumb. So dumb. Anyway, I'm going to round out mine to get through the segment here. I thought that we would see some screens from the 49ers. Hey, they ripped off a couple decent ones. It was not too big of a deal, but I thought that they were going to use that old screen game against us. And I said, hey, man, you guys need to help McGlinchey because you don't want him going one-on-one. They tried to go 3-on-1 against Mac, and he just beat him inside for a big play. So, I think that they were thinking they didn't want him out on an island with Mac either. So, smart. Shanahan's a good coach, man. They got the second best, that year. Good for them. Nagy?
Yeah.
Swaggy Nagy.
You got anything else on the old 49ers victory plus?
No, let's see. Predictions. It's prediction time before we go into just random takes and things like that. Bears 30, 49ers 13. I was off. 14-9. So, I don't know. I think I was closer than you. I can't remember what your score was, but I just thought that we were such a much better team, and I thought that we would regain the focus, and I thought we'd score 30, but we didn't. It is what it is. But we're accountable. We at least show you when we mess up around here at Shy Bears Plus on YouTube. Did you smack the bell? I don't. Anyway, let's go through. Let's go.
I didn't. I picked the score in just a little bit, but I did think that the 49ers were going to be bring it a little bit. It was going to be more of a Green Bay Packers score, but there has to be a little fodder here. But that's all she was talking about with my predictions.
Yes. Just moving on. Let's just get through some takes. Anything else she had written down? A bunch of notes. I know I put on Twitter, like I was talking about earlier. This is a team that fights for each other, literally. Cheap shot by the 49ers, and then you have Sherman running into the sidelines, and people are kind of throwing some punches. I might not be the guy who's going to say, hey, go punch another guy in the face and get a personal foul, but when you see it, you kind of get excited that these guys have each other's back. Kyle Long has always been a guy who's had his quarterback's back, but you got Bellamy and Miller getting thrown out of the game for throwing some punches. Wide receivers coming to the defense of a quarterback. There's probably a special connection there. And I bashed Cutler a little bit on Twitter because I just remember a couple situations like the Sioux forearm to the back of the head, and no one ran up and defended Cutler. I remember that it was just something that stood out to me in the past. And then there was a fairly bear hug, pickup, 6 sacks, and then a drop. And people came to his defense, but they didn't come rushing up. I'm like, these guys are running up on dudes if they mess with Mitch Trubisky. And, family on 3, 1, 2, 3, family. You feel it. There's a different atmosphere. You get the feeling that something really special is happening, not just with their chemistry, but as this team as a whole. Like, we might be doing some celebrating, some big-time celebrating. Yeah,
agreed. There's 3 real hot takes I have. I'll just do one at a time if you want to go back and forth. But, a lot of people always mention that this was a top 10 defense last year. Mm-hmm. It was, but it didn't have Mac, obviously. But there's 2 people I think that kind of get pushed aside. That's Roquan Smith and Viola Nichols. All right? Both of those guys, draft picks, rookies, have contributed greatly for this Bears team. So, we have the horses, but adding those 2 rookies here has really solidified that depth. If we didn't have 58 as the opposite of 59, I'm not very confident in number 44 with any lateral quickness. I like him on special teams, north-south kind of guy, but sideline to sideline, no. And you just see 58s get better at coverage. That Mike Blitz or whatever they're calling that arrow right up the middle. He's so good with that now. Mm-hmm. The other day he got blocked up a little bit, but he used his hands and he freed himself quickly. And then what made me thinking about that is that McGlinchey, on that one blitz that Roquan almost beheaded Mullins. McGlinchey, he tried, but Roquan read it properly. And at the beginning of the year, last thing I'll say is that the beginning of the year, Vic Fangio was calling that. I didn't know why, but now I know why. It's Roquan's really good.
He is really, really good at getting penetration through the middle and just being fast and avoiding the contact getting through. And that's something that we talked about at the beginning of the year with the addition of Mack and Roquan. That you didn't know where the pressure was going to come from on this team. We have so many options on defense to create pressure, and it's created a real problem for the rest of the league when we're almost number one in every single statistical category that there is. What a great time to be a Chicago Bears fan. I'm very excited, as you can see. So I'm going to be a Debbie Downer. Parkey missed his 7th kick of the year. He's 22 for 29, 41 for 43 on extra points. Every time he redeems himself, he comes in and misses another kick. And I just want to jump on board. I put on Twitter today, I'm like, maybe he should have kicked at Levi's Stadium this week, and maybe that would have fixed it for him. I don't know. I don't have a ton of confidence in him. I don't know if it's in the future. We'll see some more going for it on 4th downs and things like that. But just pointing it out, I'm not going to overreact. Just stating the facts. Do you want me to go with some more or no?
No, just my last one. I got the hottest take of the year, and that's John Fox. John Fox would make the playoffs with this team. This team is so super talented compared to last year. I remember watching Waddle and Sylvian or listening, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Daniel Inman he's a 3rd wide receiver." No, he's not. He was a 7th or 8th wide receiver. He was a practice run wide receiver. That's why he was the 7th or 8th wide receiver on San Diego. We just didn't see any real wide receivers in a decade or 5 years since Alshon Jeffrey or Brandon Marshall and all that stuff. So this team is so deep with talent that John Fox, they probably would have gone 9-7, but they would have made the playoffs, but they're in a much better situation with Nagy.
That was a super crispy take, I'm not going to lie, and I can't really fight it. This team might be actually good enough to make the playoffs with him. But, he was always able to make the playoffs, it seemed like, in some other stops, but he would always have trouble without having the greatest quarterback of all time or one of the top 3 actually getting to the chip and winning it. So, anyway, I'm glad we are where we're at now, but I think he probably would have made the playoffs with this team. I think you're right.
Last thing I'm going to say is, how cool is it that the Bears have already clinched the playoffs and Kings of the North, and they still have another divisional game to play?
How cool is that, huh, guys? It is really cool. I was still stressing yesterday because I just want the Bears to win every single week. And it sure is nice to know that we're in no matter what, with 2 weeks left to go. Shout out to Akeem Hicks. So I thought the D-line would really feast during this game, and we got close and maybe didn't get home. We had 1 sack, but Akeem Hicks with the 3 crispy patted down balls, the deflections, PBUs or whatever you want to call them. I remember 2 of them specifically being on 3rd down, stopping drives. Hey, it's not a sack in the book, but it's just as good getting the turnover on downs, getting that punt and getting the ball back. Thank you, Akeem Hicks, for getting the ball back, sir. Allen Robinson, I'm so glad that we have Allen Robinson on this team, and he might not be blowing up the fantasy world. I did have some stats here with him. He's
definitely the go-to guy. You can see that him and Mitchell have built that rapport. He's a big body. He knows how to get open. He catches contested balls. And that throw that we saw by Mitchell for 1st down to number 12 on the far side of the field, that is elite level accuracy. Yeah, every NFL quarterback is going to miss a long ball, but when he's throwing from one side of the field to the other side of the field, that's a lot farther. Even though it's a 7-yard completion, he probably threw it 30 yards in between the numbers to where only his guy could catch it.
Yeah.
Drop that now.
What a great throw. Allen Robinson, 55 catches, 754 yards, almost all the way through the season. But, dude, the 3rd down, the conversions, the rapport that they have, when Mitch needs a security blanket, he's right there for him. So, shout out to Allen Robinson. So glad that we have him over.
Coming off an ACL.
And coming off an ACL. Just another great pace pickup, right? Adrian Amos, just want to say shout out to you, dude. Couple sure tackles in the game. Big PBU in the end zone. Maybe the unheralded rookie, or not rookie, but defensive back on this team that maybe doesn't get a lot of the hype. But there's something to be said for not having to call somebody's name all the time and talk about him, just being like a solid dude out in your secondary, and I sure do appreciate it. Point out that we lost a turnover battle, and we need to make sure that we're a little bit crispier on the old offense and not giving the ball up 2-1. But you mentioned before that time of possession, we love to see it. It seems like every time we win, we're talking about time of possession. The Anthony Miller touchdown was so crispy, like a tactician with the routes. He hasn't been showing up as we would have thought. We were talking about before the game, and it was glad to see him post a big touchdown. And it really was a difference-making type of a touchdown, right? Shout out to Jeff at +_shy. He pointed out yesterday on that very same play, Jordan Howard came in and made a big block on the end and just basically annihilated somebody's legs. And it was tight. I actually watched it this morning. I was like, oh, I see what you were talking about there.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice, and you just have to appreciate Jordan Howard. He seems like such a selfless dude, always getting in there on the blocks, not complaining that he doesn't have 2,000 yards this season, and just seems willing to do all the dirty work, being the guy on third down to go ahead and maybe not get the pass, but go ahead and make the block. So really do appreciate him. Danny Trevathan shout out for that interception. Maybe it was lucked into him with some good coverage with Roquan, but he made the play, and there's something to be said for just making the play and getting the turnover. It's something that we didn't do last year, was catch interceptions, right? And it was at a great time.
He came off his guy there because his other guy was running the before route to open up that zone or man, whatever. And then he came off that guy when he saw the ball was thrown. That was good. He put himself in the right place at the right time.
I have a whole bunch, but it looks like it was a bunch of stuff that I've already talked about. My final take of the game was I love quarterback sneaks on fourth down. I'm not going to lie. I absolutely love it. I felt like it was something that Jay Cutler didn't like to do or Fox didn't like to do. Someone didn't like to do it, but I'm so glad we're bringing that back because, man, it just seems like when you have less than a yard, how many times do you just go ahead and get it with that QB sneak? So glad that Nagy and them actually believe in it because it does exist. Just like Santa Claus, if anybody is under 18 watching right now. Anyway, Christmas edition. I'm Robert at Shy Bears Plus. Like it. Share it. Hit subscribe. Tap the bell. Do all those things. Follow me on Twitter at Shy Bears Plus. You don't want to miss any of the crispy takes that I got going on. And also Instagram for the dankest memes. Plug yourself, young man, and let's go home.
All right, check me out on Twitter at +_shy. All the Shy Bears Plus everywhere, like Bob just said. Merry Christmas, everybody. The Bears are in the playoffs. Maybe we luck into that 2 seed. That's all she wrote.
McKay.
Drop.